We long for connection, for belonging, for a place where we feel seen and heard. In a world that often feels fractured and overwhelming, we crave a sense of community, a space where our contributions matter. What if I told you that the seeds of a more beautiful world, a world that prioritizes people and well-being, are already being planted? This isn't about some grand utopian vision, but rather about the power of small, intentional communities. Communities where vulnerability isn't weakness, but the birthplace of connection and innovation. Communities where our shared humanity becomes the foundation for a more compassionate and sustainable way of life. Join me as we explore the transformative potential of small communities and discover how these intimate spaces can reignite our sense of purpose, foster genuine connection, and remind us of the profound strength that comes from embracing our collective humanity. When we think about community, we often picture bustling city blocks or sprawling suburbs. But the truth is, true connection thrives in the spaces between, in the intimate circles where faces become familiar and stories are shared like precious gifts. Small-scale societies, whether intentional communities or close-knit neighborhoods, offer a fertile ground for genuine human connection. It's the daily rhythm of shared meals, the impromptu conversations over garden fences, the way neighbors show up for each other in times of need, big or small. These seemingly ordinary interactions weave a tapestry of belonging, a sense of being held and supported that transcends the transactional nature of modern life. It's in these spaces that we rediscover the ancient wisdom of interdependence, the understanding that our well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of those around us. This interconnectedness fosters a deep sense of responsibility towards one another. We're more likely to extend grace, to practice compassion, and to show up authentically when we know that our actions have a direct impact on the lives we touch. In a world that often feels isolating, small communities offer a powerful antidote to loneliness and disconnection. They remind us that we are not meant to do life alone, that our struggles and triumphs are better shared, and that our collective strength lies in our willingness to embrace our shared humanity. When we cultivate spaces where vulnerability is welcomed and celebrated, we create the conditions for authentic connection to flourish. And it's in these connections, these small acts of courage and compassion, that we begin to heal ourselves and the world around us. So let us dare to imagine a world where the heartbeat of community is felt in every neighborhood, every street corner, every shared space. A world where connection is not a luxury, but the very air we breathe. We live in a world that's constantly changing, a world that demands adaptability and innovation. And yet, so many of our systems are built on a foundation of rigidity and bureaucracy. This is where the beauty of small communities shines through. Small communities possess an inherent agility, a nimbleness that allows them to adapt to change with remarkable speed and grace. Unburdened by layers of bureaucracy, they're able to make decisions quickly and efficiently, responding to the needs of their members in real time. This flexibility extends beyond just decision-making. It permeates the very fabric of life within these communities. New ideas are welcomed with open arms, and experimentation is encouraged as a path to growth and learning. Imagine a community garden where residents are constantly experimenting with new planting techniques, sharing their successes and failures, and collectively contributing to a more abundant harvest. Or picture a neighborhood where residents come together to create a micro-lending library, fostering a culture of sharing and mutual support. This spirit of innovation isn't limited to practical matters. Small communities are often at the forefront of social change, creating spaces where marginalized voices can be heard and new ways of being in the world can be explored. When we create spaces where vulnerability is not feared but embraced, we unleash a wave of creativity and ingenuity. We empower individuals to share their ideas freely, to take risks, and to learn from their mistakes without the fear of judgment or rejection. This willingness to experiment, to learn, and to evolve is what allows small communities to thrive in the face of uncertainty. They understand that change is not something to be feared, but rather an opportunity for growth, innovation, and deeper connection. So let us celebrate the agility of small, the power of collective creativity, and the beauty of a world where change is embraced as a catalyst for positive transformation. In a world often driven by consumption and individual gain, the concept of shared resources can feel radical. Yet it's within the intimate setting of small communities that we rediscover the profound wisdom and practicality of collective resource management. When we live in close proximity to one another, the interconnectedness of our lives becomes strikingly clear. We see how our individual choices impact the environment and the well-being of our neighbors. This awareness fosters a sense of shared responsibility, a deep understanding that we are all stewards of the resources we have been entrusted with. Decision-making processes in small communities often reflect this ethos of shared responsibility. Imagine a community gathering where residents come together to discuss the allocation of a shared community garden plot, or a neighborhood meeting where residents brainstorm ways to reduce their collective carbon footprint. These conversations, while sometimes challenging, are rooted in a shared commitment to the well-being of the whole. They are an opportunity to exercise our collective wisdom, to find creative solutions that benefit both individuals and the community as a whole. This approach to resource management extends beyond material goods. Small communities often create systems of shared knowledge and skills, recognizing that everyone has something valuable to contribute. Picture a neighborhood Skillshare where residents offer workshops on everything from gardening to carpentry to coding, fostering a culture of mutual learning and empowerment. Or imagine a community tool library where residents can borrow tools and equipment, reducing waste and fostering a spirit of sharing. This commitment to collective resource management is not about deprivation, but rather about recognizing the abundance that exists when we prioritize collaboration over competition. It's about understanding that our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of the collective, and that by taking care of each other and our shared resources, we create a more sustainable and fulfilling way of life for all. Let us be inspired by the resourcefulness of small communities, their ability to create abundance through collaboration and shared responsibility, reminding us that true wealth lies not in what we accumulate, but in the strength of the connections we forge and the well-being of the communities we cultivate. So many of us feel unheard, our voices lost in the cacophony of the masses. We long to be seen, to be heard, to know that our contributions matter. Small communities offer a powerful antidote to this sense of powerlessness. Creating spaces where individual voices carry weight and participation in decision-making is not a privilege, but a right. Imagine a community meeting where every voice is given space to be heard, where decisions are made through consensus, and where the needs of the most vulnerable are prioritized. This is not a utopian ideal, but a lived reality in many small communities around the world. When we participate in the governance of our communities, we reclaim our agency and tap into our innate capacity for leadership. We develop a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing our community, and we gain the skills and confidence to contribute meaningfully to solutions. This active participation fosters a sense of ownership and belonging. We are no longer passive observers, but active co-creators of the world around us. This sense of agency is deeply empowering, reminding us that we have the power to shape our own destinies and create the world we want to live in. The beauty of small-scale decision-making lies in its ability to be responsive to the needs of the community. Decisions are not made in isolation, but rather through a process of dialogue and collaboration, ensuring that all voices are heard and all perspectives are considered. This approach to governance fosters a deep sense of trust and accountability. We are more likely to support decisions that we have had a hand in shaping, and we are more likely to hold ourselves and each other accountable when we know that our actions have a direct impact on the well-being of our community. Let us be inspired by the participatory nature of small communities, their commitment to inclusivity, and their unwavering belief in the power of collective decision-making. Let us create spaces where every voice matters, where everyone has the opportunity to lead, and where the wisdom of the collective guides us towards a more just and equitable future. In our relentless pursuit of productivity and progress, we've often neglected the most essential element of a thriving society, the well-being of its people. Small communities offer a refreshing counter-narrative, reminding us that true progress cannot be measured solely by economic indicators, but rather by the health, happiness, and overall well-being of its members. Imagine a community where mental health is not stigmatized, but rather openly discussed and supported. A place where neighbors check in on each other, where elders are revered for their wisdom, and where children are free to play and explore in safe and nurturing environments. This focus on well-being is not simply a matter of individual responsibility, but rather a collective commitment to creating a society that prioritizes the health and happiness of all its members. It's about recognizing that our well-being is interconnected, and that by supporting each other's mental, emotional, and physical health, we create a more resilient and thriving community as a whole. Small communities often develop innovative approaches to healthcare and well-being, drawing on a blend of traditional wisdom and modern practices. Imagine community gardens overflowing with fresh, organic produce, providing nourishing food for all. Picture neighborhood yoga classes, meditation circles, and support groups, offering spaces for healing and connection. This holistic approach to well-being extends beyond physical health, encompassing the mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of our being. It's about creating spaces where vulnerability is embraced, where it's okay to not be okay, and where support is readily available when we need it most. Imagine a community where elders are revered for their wisdom and experience, sharing their stories and offering guidance to younger generations. Picture a culture where creativity is celebrated as a source of healing and joy, where music, art, and storytelling are woven into the fabric of daily life. This focus on well-being is not about achieving some unattainable ideal of perfection, but rather about creating a culture of care, compassion, and support. It's about recognizing that we are all in this together, and that by prioritizing the well-being of ourselves and each other, we create a more just, compassionate, and beautiful world for all. What we've explored together isn't just a collection of nice ideas about community. It's an invitation to rediscover a truth that resides within each of us. We are hardwired for connection, for belonging, for purpose. Small communities, in all their messy and imperfect beauty, offer us a glimpse into what's possible when we choose courage over comfort, when we dare to believe that a more connected and compassionate world is within reach. This isn't about romanticizing the past or turning away from the complexities of the modern world. It's about recognizing the wisdom embedded in these age-old ways of being and finding ways to adapt them to our current context. It's about reclaiming our power as individuals and communities to create a world that reflects our deepest values. Let us be the architects of a world where connection thrives, where vulnerability is a strength, and where the well-being of people and the planet are inseparable. The seeds of a more beautiful world are being sown, and it's in the fertile ground of small communities that we find the greatest hope for a brighter future.